Chef Manny and I are here with Kyoko Jenkins at the Nacogdoches Farmers Market, and I'd like to introduce Mr. McInerney. Mr. McInerney, tell us how you're connected to the Farmers Market, or tell us something about the Farmers Market.
Well, we started 8 years ago, and I'm the coordinator, so from the very beginning we've emphasized local products. So it has to be something that's locally made or something that's locally grown.
Okay, so locally grown means fresher food.
Right.
And fresher food means more flavor and more nutrients.
Lots more nutrients.
Yeah. Well, Mr. McInerney, we're going to get around and do some shopping, pick up some fresh foods, and see what Chef Manny does his magic with.
Okay. Thank y'all for coming out.
All right, we'll see you around. Ooh, that's beautiful. All right. Okay, now where are you guys from?
We're from right in Nacogdoches.
In Nacogdoches?
What about these, Tim?
Hey, that's great.
Nice, huh?
Saute.
Nice crisp. Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking saute.
I'm thinking too. I'm
Okay.
thinking the same
All right.
thing. This will be great. We'll
Some fresh
put
olive
this
oil.
on our cart.
Okay, all right.
Excellent.
Okay. Your tomatoes are beautiful, so tell me where you're from.
Mount Enterprise, Texas.
And so all these are grown in Mount Enterprise?
Yes, in a converted chicken house.
Whoa, okay, well.
He's the real man of the operation.
All right, all right. Hey, I love it. Well, we'd like to use some of your tomatoes in our demonstration.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Let's take these.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
You know, herbal teas, when they're made out of this kind of material, it's very high in antioxidants.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there's nothing better than going to the farmer's market and you got everything available.
Fresh food.
Fresh food,
flavor.
fresh soaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Is this cool or what?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're with Maydale Wines.
Yes, sir.
And so how long has your winery been going?
We've been a functioning winery for 9 years now.
Whoa, cool. And what different wines do you produce?
We produce predominantly fruit wines. We do, our claim to fame is our lemon and our lime.
Good summertime wine.
Yes, wonderful.
Okay, now Chef Manny, are there any of these that would work in a saute or a?
You know,
tell me what you think.
how about we taste? Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Okay, so what do you taste?
Nice garlic. Creamy.
This is just a little saying that us in the horticulture world have made up. I don't know how old it is, but the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, the third year they leap.
Sleep, creep, and leap. And so that tells me then that I don't.
Wait, I think mine are just sleeping because they ain't going anywhere.
It's the first year.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you have 2 more years to wait, and there'll be huge, beautiful plants in there.
Okay.
And that's when I start using it for the kitchen. Chef Manny, what herbs do you think we'd use today?
Well, here we got beautiful basil.
Is that basil? No, that's mint.
Oh, that's mint. Okay.
Yeah,
How about this for the salad?
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Is that beautiful?
Yeah.
Okay. So
All right.
we're gonna use this up.
Okay. Cool. Welcome to Memorial Cooking Innovations. I'm Tim Scallon, registered dietitian.
And I'm Manny Marini, executive chef, and today our guest is Kyoko. She's with us today. So welcome you all.
And here we are at the Nacogdoches Farmers Market. It's the first time that we've been on this location.
It's first time for me too, and I love it.
Yeah, we appreciate you all being here, and we really appreciate the Farmers Market. Chef Manny, you picked up a lot of good stuff as we were shopping the market. Tell us what you're going to cook today.
Wonderful fresh produce. What we want to do is we're going to do a nice salad. Okay. Pretty
So we're gonna
simple
start
stuff.
with that.
But we're gonna incorporate our salad with a little olive oil. We're gonna use a little lemon wine.
Okay.
As our citrus part of it. We got some fresh lettuce. We got some fresh tomatoes. I mean, you couldn't ask anything better. We got some fennel. We got some onions. Okay, we're going to come up with something simple, easy.
All right.
Then I want to introduce a frittata.
Okay,
which
frittata.
Frittata, which is a oven baked. We don't have an oven here, but I'm gonna show you how to do it, and we're gonna use all these produce and make it really nice. But of course, we always cook healthier, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna use a little bit of egg beaters, okay? And
Okay.
they got beautiful eggs out there.
Yep, yep.
Beautiful, beautiful eggs. But we're gonna do it this time with a little bit of egg beaters. Use some eggs, and we talked about eggs a lot of times.
Yep.
That actually eggs are good for you, but it's how much we eat of it.
That's right, that's
okay,
right.
so we're gonna do that and do it. I mean, if you're an egg person that eats eggs a lot, cut down, maybe do some egg beaters because they're natural. They're
Yep,
still
yep.
real eggs. But eat real eggs, I mean, you use it once in a while. Another one we're going to do is we're going to do a pasta.
Okay.
Everybody loves pasta.
You know, Chef Manny Marini, he's Italian originally. He's got to get that pasta in.
Pasta.
Okay.
We got that nice lettuce here. Kyoko, if you don't mind, we're going to start with that. I got a nice little bowl here because what the whole idea of this is we're going to make a nice dressing. We don't want to go to the store and get that ranch dressing. We don't want to get the Italian dressing. Why? Because it's got a lot of sodium.
That's right.
It's real easy to make dressing.
Yep.
Simple as that. So what Kyoko's going to do is she's going to fix my plate right here. And I have my little mixing bowl here. Olive oil. Let's talk about olive oil. Olive oil, it is a little expensive, but it is very natural, nice, healthier.
Yes. Okay, but Chef Manny, why do you, because we hear this from our viewers all the time, why do you always use extra virgin olive oil? So why do you use extra?
The flavor.
Okay.
The flavor is
all
real
right.
good. And it holds a lot of heat. Regular salad oil doesn't heat up. It'll start smoking. This one will hold a little more heat. So if you're sauteing or anything like that, it's always good to use. So we're going to use virgin olive oil. Nice flavor to it.
Now, I have a reason why I like using extra virgin olive oil that's not just flavor, but also it's a heart healthy fat. Okay, so extra virgin olive oil, the difference between extra virgin olive oil and the light olive oil is how many times it's filtered. The more filtered it is, the less flavor it has, and the less polyphenols, the antioxidants that are the heart healthy elements in the olive oil. So, a little bit about olive oil.
So we did a little wine tasting there, which was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
And I chose to use the lemon wine
Okay.
locally, which is great.
Locally produced.
So I got a little bit of olive oil. We're going to incorporate a little bit of wine for the citrusy flavor.
Notice how he started stirring before he put that wine in. So he's mixing is what he's doing.
And then I'm going to add a pinch of pepper.
Pinch of black pepper.
Okay, you got the salad. How about a little basil, Kyoko, if you don't mind? We're going to add a little bit of basil. How about a fresh mint, too? I got some fresh mint in there.
You know, the first time I started working with Chef Manny, I always chose bottled salad dressing. It's just a convenient item. But once you start making your own salad dressing, there's just no comparison in flavor.
Not at all.
The
Not at
flavor's
all.
just not in the bottled dressings.
I got a pinch of salt, and working with Tim, he makes sure it's just a pinch of salt.
I have to watch his pinch because sometimes his pinch is
pinch-
more than my pinch.
Exactly. We have a little sodium in here in the wine, so we don't want to add more sodium. We just want a pinch. We can taste it later on. But what the whole idea of this is to get all the flavors. She's chopping up me some fresh basil, if you want to put it in here. She's going to chop me up some fresh mint. So we want to make sure that when we do our dressings that we incorporate all the flavors. I don't want to overpower it with garlic. I don't want to overpower it with salt because that's all you're going to taste. You want to make sure that when they take that bite, it's there. You feel it. You feel it in there. Did you get the mint in here too?
In fact, that's a recurring theme on Memorial Cooking Innovations is Chef Manny is teaching us to balance flavors. Well, that goes right in line with health guidelines because we have to pull back on sodium in what we eat. If salt is very overpowering in flavor, you put too much, you only taste salt. When you start pulling back, you start tasting the delicate basil, the olive oil. This wine is going to bring a delicate flavor to this dressing.
Okay. Another one is this beautiful fennel. Now, this not only is the bud right here, the flavor, but it's also this. And if y'all are familiar with fennel, it's like a licorice flavor. It goes good with anything. So we're gonna, if you don't mind, Kyoko, let's chop some of that up. Let's sprinkle it on top of the salad. Let me fix this tomatoes.
Fennel is one of those foods that is very dense in antioxidants. Y'all know antioxidants. Antioxidants are these molecules in food that really slow down the aging process in the body. At the cellular level, antioxidants slow down the gradual damage that cells incur just from normal living. Fresh, full of nutrients, healthy, but good for us, but delicious. Okay, so Chef Manny, what's next?
How about our pasta?
Okay, I love pasta.
Pasta is wonderful. Let me turn this thing on.
Pasta, one of the things that we've learned is we want to eat pasta al dente. It means firm to the bite, and it's more than just an aesthetic thing. It's also a health thing. When we overcook pasta, it causes us to, our blood sugar rises faster when we eat it. So we want it to be firm when we eat it. The blood sugar rise will be more gradual. And so there's a health reason, not only it tastes better that way. Okay, so what are you going to do with this pasta?
Our pasta is going to be, we're going to actually saute a little bit of everything. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good.
We're actually going to include greens.
Oh, okay, the collard greens.
Yeah, and we had a show, by the way, we had a show on greens, and a lot of people were amazed that we got to wash it really, really good.
Yep.
At the same time, we're used to boiling it.
Yep.
But you're taking all the nutrition out of it, by boiling and boiling.
And also, when you boil these greens, you're releasing more tannins, which make them more bitter. You know how collard greens are bitter? Well, some people like that. But we learned a way to cook these greens where you don't feel that bitter.
One thing that I do want to mention to our group right here is the greener the vegetable, the more nutrition.
You bet. The more nutrients, the more antioxidants.
So the darker the vegetable is, such as your greens, your tomatoes, your zucchini here, your yellow squash, the more color, the more vibrant color you have, the natural it is.
These colors actually are an indication to us of nutrient content. Okay, so
that's beautiful, Kyoko.
So
I am going to get a little bit of olive oil.
Yep.
I'm going to saute the olive oil.
So this is going to be the same start that you do on a lot of sautés, correct?
Typical. Okay. We're going to sweat the onions, okay?
Okay.
She's got the onions ready for me.
So sweating the onions is basically just releasing the flavor of the onion into the oil. And in recipes you see, typically you see where it says, cook the onions until they're soft or until they're translucent. And that's when he says sweating the onions, that's what he means. Okay?
Okay. Then we're going to add a little bit of pepper. Let's add a little pepper right here.
All right.
We want to also bring out the flavor of the pepper.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to do a little roasting pepper. Here we have some yellow squash. Kyoko's cutting me up some yellow squash and some zucchini. And we're going to add a little bit of tomatoes. I'm just going to set this up for Kyoko.
Now in this sauté, I'm guessing that you're going to cook the things that you want everything to come out the same tenderness when you're done.
Tenderness and crispiness.
Yeah. So that means that you're going to cut things about the same size, and the tougher things you're going to put in first, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then if you're going to do the yellow squash.
Okay, these onions are sweated.
Okay.
Anybody sweating out there?
We're going to add our zucchini.
Okay, zucchini.
And what we're doing our pasta is basically what we found here locally, okay?
All right.
And this is the fun part of it. Everybody always says, how do you do that? Trust me, it takes a little time, but do it slow and you'll learn quick.
As a dietitian, I would say don't do this at home. I tried it. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Got it all over the place.
It was all that. I never had a stove that looked like that.
All right, beautiful. Now let's do the tomatoes, Kyoko. Here we got some yellow squash. We're actually going to add a little bit of fennel, but we're going to use the bulb on this part.
If you aren't going to flip this, you can always use a spoon to stir it around. That's the dietitian way. I learned that.
All right, Kyoko, and then can we cut the bulb and then julienne that real quick?
Okay, fresh tomato.
Fresh tomatoes.
Got a lot of color in there.
Now, one of the things that I like, and that's your choice, is that I like to add my garlic somewhere in the middle to the end. I like that fresh garlic flavor. I don't like that I do like the roasted garlic, but garlic burns fast. So a lot of recipes actually say add the onions, add the garlic, bring the flavor out, which the smell is wonderful. But I like to save the garlic for last.
So garlic is one of those things, the longer you cook it, the stronger the flavor. Okay, so in basic nutrition, we learned that variety is the key because there's no one food that has everything in it. Nutrients are dispersed in different foods. And so anytime that you have a mixed dish like this, you're getting a very nutrient-dense dish. And so dense not only in vitamins and minerals, not only in healthy elements like olive oil, but also in the different molecules in food that may or may not be vitamins or minerals, but they have a healthy outcome in the body. What we've learned is, actually Chef Manny showed us that if we saute these greens, collard greens hold up very well to a saute. They're a tough green, and they just work very well in a saute like this. And I like the way you finely cut them.
Yeah, and the reason for that is they'll cook faster.
Yeah.
The thinner you cut it, the more you'll cook it faster, but you're also keeping the flavor all inside.
Okay.
Kyoko's chopping me some oregano and a little bit of basil, and I got the pasta. It's al dente.
Al dente.
Al dente pasta, which means to the bite.
Yep.
Okay, we don't want to overcook it. One thing I want to share with everybody is when you cook pasta, some chefs might say, you know, you don't need the oil. I like the oil or butter only because when the pasta goes in, it kind of coats it so it doesn't stick. Once you stick it always in boiling water. Let the water boil. Throw your pasta in, stir it very well, and let it sit for a few minutes. Pull one out. Once you see it's almost there, pull it out of the stove. But you gotta cool it as soon as you can because the center it stays so hot that it keeps cooking the pasta. So you want to cool it down. Once you make your sauce, then we also throw in our pasta.
Okay.
So I got the little pasta here.
Okay, let me stir that.
Yeah, you can stir that.
Okay, and you know, we picked up these fresh herbs here at the farmer's market. Did you know that fresh herbs have 7 times the antioxidant content of their dried counterparts? And so fresh herbs are really, not only are we adding very good flavor to this, but you're adding a lot of nutrition. And I put in an herb garden at my house last fall. It is the easiest thing in the world to grow. You know, you can do herbs in pots, just put them out in the sun, water them every now and then. I mean, you know, I'm not really I don't necessarily, as Kyoko says, I don't necessarily have a green thumb, but these herbs are easy to grow. Okay, what do you think, Chef Manny?
A little longer.
Okay.
We want to heat up the pasta.
Okay.
One of the things that we found here in the farmer's market was wonderful is our goat cheese.
Ooh.
Fresh baked goat cheese.
Okay.
Y'all tried it? It's wonderful. I just want to share that with you. It goes both ways. We could actually sprinkle over our salad here, which it'll be wonderful with the flavors. But at the same time, instead of using Parmesan cheese, we could use a little bit of goat because it's got a little goat cheese as soon as it's ready, okay?
Okay, now
so
goat cheese is one of those foods. It's got a lot of flavor, but what else does it have a lot of? Salt. It has a lot of salt. It's a very salty food. And so you notice how judicious he was? Now he did that because he didn't want to cover up all those wonderful flavors. But what the dietitian is thinking is it doesn't have as much sodium. You know, I'm aiming at a heart cardiac guideline, and so I want all of these dishes to end up for the meal to be somewhere around 200 or 300 milligrams of sodium. And so flavor, but nutritious. And those things don't have to be opposed to each other.
So Tim, we're stirring.
It's so much better when you do that.
All right. So, let me mix it real good. What we want to do really, the pasta's already pre-cooked. We just want to heat up, but we also want to make sure that all the vegetables let out their nutrition, their flavors, and everything included. All right? Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and dish ours up.
Okay. Anyone getting hungry? Isn't it good? You know, that's the downside to the TV show. You don't get the aromas.
But we do now here.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, remember, one of the things that we talked about is sodium. I did not add that because the goat cheese has salt. But we also want to keep in mind that we want to keep our flavors. So we're going to sprinkle a little bit, okay? Instead of using Parmesan cheese, which does have a lot of sodium, we're going to use a little bit of the local goat cheese. How's that? There'll be nice flavor to it.
But you could use Parmesan. You know, Parmesan is a good dry cheese. Like this goat cheese, it packs a powerful flavor punch. And you'll see in our recipes, we use small amounts of Parmesan. The recipes that we develop on Memorial Cooking Innovations are not just out of a can or some book somewhere. we start typically with a traditional recipe. So I'll say to Chef Manny, so what do you want to do this time? And he'll say, well, I want to do something with pork. So we'll start there. We'll narrow that down to a pork scallopini, for example. Well, okay, then we'll take that traditional recipe, and Chef Manny will say, well, I don't want to do this. I want to use this flavor. And you're working from a flavor perspective. And then I'll take that recipe and do a nutritional analysis on it. And sometimes I have to come back and say, well, Chef Manny, this is a little high in sodium. I'm not sure we can do this. What if we pulled back on the Parmesan, for example? Okay, and so that's how we develop our recipes. Okay,
Excellent.
so Chef Manny, what's next?
Now let's talk about breakfast.
Oh,
Breakfast is 24 hours a day.
yeah.
You know, we
Okay.
could always eat breakfast. So what I
love
want to
breakfast.
do is I'm gonna chop.
You're
a
going to
little
have
bit of the
squash for breakfast?
Squash. Why not? It's
Okay,
healthy.
okay, all right.
But we're gonna make a frittata. And what is a frittata?
Frittata.
Frittata.
Frittata is the Italian version of an omelet. Okay? And it's a great thing to add some healthy vegetables to, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, some people would put ham or sausage in a
Kevin,
frittata.
you're in charge of this one now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do the frittata, okay?
The downside
give
with
you the
ham and
vegetables.
sausage is, well, it's high in cholesterol, it's high in saturated
You're gonna
fat.
saute it.
So let's come up with a frittata that has flavor, but that fits our healthy guideline. Okay. All right. Excuse me, Kyoko.
Okay, what I'm doing right now is I am thin slicing a little zucchini. And a frittata, it's an omelet. It's really nice. Now, like I said, it's 24 hours a day. You can eat it all day long. Traditionally, it's an open face omelet, right? We're gonna set it up, saute all the vegetables, and then we finish it in the oven. That's the difference between, flipping it over nice and neat. So what you do is you get all the ingredients, do your eggs. When they're half cooked, then just throw it in the oven at about 325 for about 10-15 minutes, and you're done. That's how easy it is.
Okay.
And we're gonna make a nice big one here. We don't have an oven, so we're gonna try to finish it off here.
After Chef Manny and I developed this frittata recipe, I went out and found me a pan that didn't have a rubber handle. It had an oven handle, so that you could do what he's saying. You finish on stove and then you put it in the oven to finish the top part. The only thing you have to remember is use your hot pad when you grab it out. I learned that.
The thing I enjoy about Tim is every time he comes to the kitchen, which he follows me everywhere, because when we're working on a recipe, I always tell Tim, follow me, whether we go to the freezer, we go to the storeroom, but he's there writing down all that stuff. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? The funny thing about Tim is when I have something, I say, Tim, taste it, tell me what you taste. One time I did it, and he burned himself. He reminded me for almost a month. I always say, blow on it, cool it down a little bit. I'm so used to it. But, it works, right, Tim? You feel all the flavors, right? And I quiz him. Do you have the garlic? Do you have the wine? Do you have the ginger? Whatever is involved in it, when she's real good.
Chef Manny will dip out of a boiling pot, put it in his tasting spoon, and it goes right to his mouth. I can't do that. It just really burns me. But, that's what he does for a living. But also, you've taught me to appreciate different flavors. And, our palate develops over time. Just like in drinking wine. You don't start out drinking a heavy red wine. You start usually with something light. And as you drink wine more, your palate develops an appreciation for the flavors of the different wines. Well, this is true for anything. So, as we're starting to learn to eat foods that are lower in sodium, we're developing our palate. And when we back off on that powerful flavor of salt, we start appreciating the more delicate flavors. Okay, so you're using these collard greens in this dish also.
Everything we found here, we're going to go ahead and use.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now Chef Manny, what is this? This is what we.
This is almost like the arugula. This is more like a nice bitter. It's got a real nice bitter green to it that we're also going to use. You could also use this in your salad.
Okay.
We're just going to use all this nice green vegetables.
When you're at home, I've learned this too. I don't have to cut as fast as Chef Manny does. I go a lot slower than he does.
But it works.
It does. It works.
But you're learning little by little.
It just takes a little bit of time. If a dietitian can do it, you can do it.
One thing I always tell everybody is that everybody, when they see me cutting, I do cut so fast because there are years of experience with Kyoko and myself. But take your time, pay attention to what you're doing. The knife won't cut you, you're just going to cut yourself. That's my safety tip. You know what I mean? Just take your time and know what you're doing, and that's it. And have fun with it.
Well,
I enjoy cooking. And like Tim said earlier, he kind of dragged on the cooking part of it, but he's enjoying it more because he's understanding it. Growing up, I wanted to be an architect. I mean, that was my thing back in those days. But when I got into the restaurant business, and I thought it was fascinating how they build things together. So I'm kind of cooperating two things
You're building in food.
You're building in food,
yeah.
so we enjoy that. So once we get our vegetables, just to show everybody real quick, once we get our vegetables started, we can add a little bit of pepper, of course. Now, this one, we are going to use the pinch of salt. Pinch.
There's a pinch, okay.
Add
It's
some
a little
garlic
bit of a
if you
big
like.
pinch, but okay.
It is a big omelet.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's right. That's right.
Now, like I said, they got wonderful eggs here, but we're going to use a little bit of cholesterol-free eggs. Now, everybody thinks just because it comes in a container like this, it's fake eggs. It's really not. No. What they do is pull the egg whites out, separate the eggs. Even the liquid eggs that you buy at the store, it's real natural eggs. They just crack it for you. Yep. It's just that simple, and they whip it. So it's really not a fake eggs, but this is low cholesterol. It's mostly egg whites. And then we're just gonna, what the whole idea of this is we're just gonna let it cook slow. Normally we'll take it out and put it in the oven, finish it off, and it goes great with the salad at lunchtime. Nice frittata.
One of the things that I've learned when I'm cooking this frittata at home is if you will, just as it cooks, just every now and then, just let the egg go down to the bottom. You know, you'll find the bottom is starting to coagulate, and so let that liquid go down. Now, at the same time, you're trying to keep your vegetables dispersed evenly so that you get a bite of everything when you're eating the frittata. Okay?
So, and that's how simple some of our cuisine is.
Yeah.
At this point, once it starts right there, yeah, you throw it in the oven, and it cooks evenly. And what you do, here's the trick to it. I did not bring a big plate, but the trick to it would be to put your plate over it, flip it over, you're done. If you have a big pan like that, you can feed a family of 6. Cut it in wedges, you're set. Nice salad goes with it. This could be an appetizer. I mean, if you have like shrimp or anything else that you want to add to it, it's wonderful.
Yep.
So use it as a brunch. It's amazing.
All right, so we've learned a little bit today about some different cuisines. We've learned about how eating healthy is not opposed to flavor. And you know, you guys are working flavor. I'm working nutrition, and those two things go very well together. In fact, the more that we learn to balance flavors, the more we appreciate.
Exactly.
The more our palate develops, and we talked a little bit about that today. We talked about the value of local farmers markets. So, and there's a lot of good reasons beyond just the fresh food to eat at the farmers markets. And one of those reasons is you get to see Memorial Cooking Innovations.
That's it. That's it.
So with that, I think we're going to conclude, and we're going to say goodbye to our television viewers. We want to thank you all for joining us. We want to thank those who sponsor Memorial Cooking Innovations. We want to thank Sodexo Food Service for providing Chef Manny and Kyoko.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And also thank you to the City of Lufkin, who produces and distributes Memorial Cooking Innovations to 46 cities across the country. And with that, we will see you next week as we continue to change the world one bite at a time.